Welcome back, and joining me for a closer look at what's played out on the market scene today is Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers. Thank you so much for your time, Makwe. Quite a divergence in the performance of the JSE today, and the US markets pretty unhappy, and the JSE though in the red with those resources leading. What did you make of today's trading session?
I think we got disappointed later with that services number coming off the US that were disappointing, bearing in mind that the US is more of a services economy versus the manufacturing economy, and also the fact that we should expect some tariffs when it comes to pharmaceuticals going forward, the semiconductors, But yes, markets yesterday we've seen that they made back all the losses, that we've seen last week and especially on Friday, because now we got excited that, hey, we might get an interest rate cut come September. So markets are kind of looking for a new catalyst. And also we got some relief when it comes to China that Donald Trump did mention that he might look into extending, that truce. I think it's coming to an end on the 12th of August or so. And as we know that both economies, there's no way they can afford those kind of tariffs. So it was more of a mixed bag, but reality was the U.S. economy is not doing that great, and bearing in mind that valuations, are so stressed, and that's at the back of this high unemployment, the possibility of the inflation coming back to the fore. So that's not looking pretty okay. And hence people think that, what, one or the other, we might have some pullback, at some point, giving all that the economic outlook more or less is stagnating.
Yeah. Well, Makwe, let's get to the earnings that we saw coming out of the JSE, and actually starting off with the JSE, the company itself releasing interim results. We did have double-digit growth there from the top to the bottom line. Quite a lot that the business is also doing internally to improve the quality of the earnings. Your take on the stock exchange's performance?
I think they're doing great, given that there have been so many delisting. They've tried to diversify their revenue streams, and it's not just only from the elevated activities when it comes to the trading, when it comes to the capital markets, also the post-trade activities working fine for them. I mean, as we're talking, the guys, they're sitting with a cash position of almost 2.5 billion rands. I mean, that's very decent, and that will help them to be able to implement whatever they need to implement. And more importantly, when it comes to the BDA system, which is also part of the backbone when it comes to trading, because that's more or less the main part of things after people have put in the trades through the system. So it's important that it gets to be up to scratch, not that it was not up to scratch. And also that looking as well, joining their global peers, looking into that possibility of a 24-hour trading.
Lovely. Well, let's get to banking. Nedbank also out with half-year results today. We did actually have their headline earnings per share up 6%. They said that performance was slightly ahead of their own expectations. But the share did tumble almost 6%. Did Nedbank sink that financial 15 today?
More importantly is going forward, well and good that they did manage to increase their headline earnings by 6%. But going forward, because of the issue that they're getting out of EcoBank, I mean, they held that stake for almost 17 years, I mean, and now they have to look into other markets. We still have to see, those markets, how will they contribute towards their earnings going forward. And anyway, if the guys will be looking into selling that stake, will they maybe give us a special dividend or maybe reward long-term shareholders by doing some share buybacks? We don't know. But yes, we've seen that the non-interest income, or revenue managed to, mitigate, the muted growth when it comes to interest income. And also the impairment charges, I mean, they've just been improving, not too bad, but I think we're more worried about going forward.
Well, a share price movement that did surprise me today also was Telecom. The last time I checked, that stock nosediving about 8%. They released a trading update for the quarter ended June, posting just a small tepid rise in revenue of 1.1%, but they did have a bigger growth in their core profit of 6.5%. What did investors get from that update?
Yes, overall financial performance improving, yes, by 6.5%, not too shabby. But now look into the guys who compare them with their peers. Yes, when it comes to mobile subscribers, we see a nice improvement up, I think 27.5% to 17.3 million. Not too bad. When it comes to the fiber connectivity, increasing almost 17.5%. I mean, connectivity rate is sitting at 51.1%. But look at where other guys are making money. More from fintech. Do we get anything from Telecom when it comes to fintech? The guys are still struggling on that, and we don't get to hear them making enough noise about it. That's also where they're looking to tap into.
All right, Makwe, well, let's get to your stock pick for today. What are you choosing?
I think I'll settle for cash for the reason that I mentioned earlier, that I think the valuations are too stretched and one still has to get a catalyst. And anyway, August and September, generally, they've not been good, when it comes to stocks. So for now, with all the profits that people have made, the record highs that we've managed to reach, then I think maybe it's kind of decent to be able to stay on cash for now, and probably will get some decent pullback, then start deploying that money again.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your insights on what has moved investors' money today, Makwe. That was Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers.